Howdy, I'm suture.blue, one of the curators for the GAC Instagram, and I'm here with Gork, a multimedia artist based in Oregon. You move fluidly between image, sound, text, and myth making. So before we get into the work, how are you doing today?
I'm doing good. Honestly, been excited to talk to you today. Finished a project last night. I just finished bending that color corrector right there. Took me 4 days. I think it was scary. It was great. And I've been riding the high of that because I feel like you finish a project like that and you're set for a while.
What is the art scene like in Oregon for you?
For me, I'm in Eugene. It's a college town like south of Portland, like 2 hours south. I go to school there. Not really much happening. There's definitely people who do like galleries and stuff, but there's not really a big digital art scene here at all. I don't know a lot of digital artists here, but in Portland, there's a good
Mhm.
amount. A lot of cool analog artists. I mean, Big Popper is based out of there. Synth Library, as you know, that's where we met. Great place. Portland is kind of itself. It feels like a kind of mecca of cool glitch artists that just kind of show up there. At least on the West Coast, I feel like there's a lot of glitch artists that kind of gravitate towards there.
How important are collaboration and exchange with other people to your practice?
I believe in this like grand collage where like everything is, you're a remix of everything you witness, you're a remix of everything you do. All the art that you make is inherently like stolen thoughts and ideas that you accumulate and make. Unless you're
Yeah.
doing like purely generative art, I guess then you're really making something out of nothing. But that goes in both the way of the people that I witness and the ones that I learn from. And so I have friends that I do just art around and we just talk and we bounce ideas off each other, and their influence and their like presence in my life absolutely influences output and the style of the stuff I make. But at the
Hmm.
same time, influences you know, like Drugs TM or like Tachyons or like other people in that area who are like other benders, like Som Fei, great example. All these people are people who I've asked questions to, like just straight up been like, hey, like how do I do this? My more technical work is just from direct conversation. And like that goes to my professors like Kevin Cripper. Their presence in my life legitimately teaches me things. I would say almost everything I do, I try to ask as many questions as possible because there's a lot of knowledge that people like have that they maybe don't want to talk about, but they will if you ask them questions enough. And if you show a genuine interest, people will tell you and you can learn so much from them. And that I think influences my art more than anything. I rarely directly work with one other person or work with a group of people. It's usually that like someone influences me and then I make something based on that influence,
Kind of like I made a thing and then like you make a
like a
thing.
reaction to it. Yeah.
So you are in school. What are you studying, if that's okay? And do you feel like you're aiming toward a particular direction with your work right now? Or are you still figuring that out?
So I'm an art and tech. So we do a lot of art and tech. And I guess that kind of fits with, everything behind me. I'm graduating in this upcoming spring. And I've been thinking a lot about what my end goal is for a lot of this. And I feel like in terms of career, it's probably more academic stuff, teaching more people. I feel like as I stated, I like to learn from everyone. I feel like the only reason I know what I do and how much I've been able to learn is through asking questions, and I would like to be a resource for other people to learn from. In terms of artistic goals, I really want to trying to take glitch art and trying to take all of this like this almost remix and re-editing work that we do that like takes things that we already understand and like re-establishes them with glitching and remanipulation and stuff. I'm trying to find a way to make something that has a deep meaning to me. A lot of us glitch artists get lost in the sauce. We get
Oh,
lost in
yeah.
like it's so cool looking because it is like it's so cool and how it works is so cool and like the process is so interesting. But I'm always trying to find a way to take this super interesting process and this super interesting, combination of I guess techniques and make something that by itself evokes a feeling that's very strong, not really with the viewer but myself.
You find it works both ways,
Yeah,
like
usually
that
both.
disingenuousness from you can feel so to the other person too.
Well, unfortunately, Instagram does not promote that. The stuff that I feel the most disingenuous and least careful about does the best online, and the stuff that I put the
Ah,
most soul into
yeah.
does the worst online.
That's definitely not a metric for genuineness, at least to yourself. Some of my work that's my favorite gets like no love, and you're like, dang, I should have maybe kept that to myself.
Exactly. There needs to be part of me throughout the whole process. And so I've gotten obsessed with building these machines now because now, like, when I bend them and then I use them and then I make an output, it feels like all of my effort is throughout the entire process. And there's like this, like, my soul is in the whole thing now.
Especially if you're trying to like feel consistent connection. That makes it makes sense even in like a technical electricity kind of way. What were some of the like influences that first brought you towards, before like glitch and the other stuff, towards collage and image making? Like, how do you still feel about your earlier references today?
When I was a kid, and I'm younger. I mean, I'm 23 right now, but when I was way
Mhm.
younger, my mom's a professionally trained artist. I actually was very upset with my mom when I was younger because I have dysgraphia, which makes it very hard to control the fine movements in my hands. So drawing does not come
Mm.
easily to me, nor does painting. And so when I was younger, I like spited her because she could make all this art and beautiful things and I couldn't do it. And so I got into writing initially as my art form because I could write, I could type. Up until like end of high school for me, I was just writing. I kind of gave up on making art. I would take art classes, but I just wouldn't enjoy them because I couldn't do anything. And in the
Mm.
background, I would like draw in MS Paint. I would do like mouse drawings in MS Paint. And those are like the earliest form of my digital art is MS Paint drawings. So then college starts for me. I go to college during COVID and it fucks me. I drop out of college. Long story short, I kind of hit rock bottom after that. Like I had a bunch
Mhm.
of issues with like substance abuse and a bunch of other things.
Mm.
And I remembered I was like I used to have like fun just messing around in Photoshop and I couldn't afford it. So I downloaded GIMP, which great program. Shout out GIMP, best free photo editing program ever. The earliest like Gork art that I made was like just mashing up stuff that I liked, that I thought about, and that was it. And then I went back to school for art because I was like, maybe I can do something with this. And I just kept practicing and learning more about photo editing and doing more and more collages with it. And like still kind of in spite of how good my mom was at all this stuff and is at all this stuff.
Your stuff, it's that's all pretty like recent. There's some point where things kind of maybe became more coherent. Did it feel that way, or did it kind of just start happening as you practiced more?
I feel like a lot of my style actually came from a lack of skill initially. The way I started was like very color blown out, a lot of this very, very intense work. And I think now I've reeled it back a lot into maybe more monochromatic or less intense stuff. And that's because when I first started, to hide a lot of the imperfections, it would be these blasts of color. You don't notice the imperfections underneath all of that. Kind of poetic in a way that you have this very flamboyant art that's hiding its imperfections
And
underneath it.
like hypercritical of yourself as
Well,
well.
yeah, I mean, I'm very hypercritical of myself, but I feel like it helped me a lot because I would see an artist that I liked. I'd be like, "That's a
Mhm.
cool thing they're doing. How do I do that?" And then I would try to do it in Photoshop or something, fail it in my eye, work around that failure with my techniques and the ways that I was like kind of masking, and it would create a new and unique thing because of the way that I just couldn't do what they were doing. About maybe like 2 years ago now, I think 3 years ago now, I kind of branched off from feeling like I was just mimicking and failing to like really had my own distinct style. And that's a big thanks to my professor, Tyrus Warren. Awesome guy. He helped me with my transition. He helped me with a lot of different things. He's just a really awesome dude. He's like my mentor. The transition to video came from actually his class. He had this one project called Remix, and it was you took a bunch of YouTube videos and you had to just make something out of them. And I never used Premiere Pro, and I like opened it for the first time and I was like, this is just like Photoshop with video layers. And so basically from that point on, I got obsessed with video art. I can do photo editing with videos. And that kind of spiraled. That's like how I got into everything. That's how I got into live stuff because like Resolume in my head was like live Premiere Pro. And then it just kind of everything kind of spiraled into more and more abstractions of the same idea of like editing in Photoshop.
You say Photoshop too, but you started collaging even before Photoshop, so I feel like Photoshop just really made sense to the way you worked
Well,
already.
Photoshop's weird because I used Photoshop in high school, like very background stuff. And then I
Mhm.
couldn't afford it, and then I started being able to afford it, then got back onto it. GIMP is awesome, but if you get Photoshop, There is just
It's
like
hard to go back.
yeah, there's just like some tools that are in there that are like GIMP does not have. There's some things that GIMP can do that Photoshop can't do instinctively, but then you can figure out how to do them pretty easily. Like GIMP has this wonderful thing called the alien map function where it like randomizes the curve editing. It makes things look like really weirdly shiny metallic. But you can just do that
That's
in
fun.
Photoshop if you like know how to curve edit that way.
The droplet character you have?
Well, this is Gork. So for a while, my character was this little blue cat named Themistocles, and it was like smoking a joint. But I kind of just made that one time while at a party, and I thought it was cute. But Gork kind of came out of kind of a more upsetting thing. But my friend passed away in April, and it's actually pinned on
Of
my
this
Instagram
year.
this year. Yeah,
Mm.
and she when she passed away, I just like I had this vision, and a lot of my art has come to me in visions where I just kind of like feel I see a piece in full, and I have to make it. And like the night she passed away, I was like working on this piece with this little character, and it like already had some of the design kind of laid out, and I didn't even know she was gone yet, but I like knew there was I knew she was like missing, and we knew that there's something was wrong. I
Mm.
finished the piece, and it's the one that's my dear friend, the two ghosts dancing, and that's where that character originates from. Is that video because I basically the idea behind it is like me and her did all our art together. She was like my like art partner through a lot of shows and like live stuff and raves we would do together, and when she passed, I felt like we were kind of had this dance, and so those two characters like danced together, and she's the like white one with the white ghost, and then mine was the like inverted color one, and so the Gort character comes from that. It's kind of like
Oh.
it's a representation of me without some color, my own character, my own traits, but kind of from a spectator angle. If I am myself, the physical version, the Gork character is me reflecting on myself without my emotion. When I separated myself, I just felt so separated from my own emotions because I like repressed and was so upset about all the stuff that happened. And at that time, already this year, I was just having so many other issues. I kind of just disconnected.
You have a piece where they literally are an observer on like a floating platform.
So this is gonna get really heady and weird. So a lot of my more colorful animations, they share a world for a while.
Pathox, right?
Yeah, yeah, PathoX, yeah. It kind of was this inner place of turmoil for me through a past relationship I was in and through a lot of issues I was having in my life. And I'd make these colorful characters to kind of like express this like boundless feeling inside me that I just couldn't get out in my waking existence. And so that piece of the Gork looking back inside is it's I think it's called like Return, or it's like Return to the Same World, something like that. That piece was made after a pretty intense experience of mine, and I made it because I was like, this is me looking back at myself for the first time, like looking back at the inner world inside myself. And so the creature in that is like my own teeth in its mouth, and it's my own eyeball in that like weird creature moving around. And so the idea is it's like the spectator Gork looking in on me myself and like in this realm. And it's the background is all made of video feedback that I did in VSynth. And so the idea is like it's all
Mm.
about kind of seeing the iterations of myself as they like iterate on each other in the feedback path. So the whole thing is like this very overdone, crazy version of just looking at yourself.
Especially for your work to be so personal, your work also reaches a lot of people now that you'll never meet. When did you first become aware of that shift from making work to also it being witnessed at like such a larger scale?
It was weird. So kind of ties to everything else I was talking about. I when I started doing collage, I had no one knew who I was. Especially the early stuff. I had like 200 followers online, and I would go to raves in Portland, and I would like I actually was calling myself Gork like just as my first name at the time, and introduce myself like I'm Gork, I do art. And I was trying to do a lot more like rave flyers and stuff because I really wanted to just like meet people because I was also just kind of shy. And this is like 2021, 2022. And so what happened is actually it was the videos. It was, when I first did video collage like using Premiere, that got me more attention, but not a lot, but it was like, oh, this is cool. And it was nuts. I was like, damn, I think I went up to 1,000 followers, and I was like, this is crazy. This is a huge deal for me, and it was enough. I mean, my goal when I first started art, I told myself, I said, my goal is that I'll have 1,093 followers.
Not even
Eh,
like 69 420 or
No, it
something.
was 93.
1093.
Couldn't tell you why. That number means literally nothing to me. But I hit that after I think a year and a half, maybe even not longer. And I was like, cool, that was an arbitrary goal that I made for no reason. I have no other goals now. Um, and and so because I could the idea of hitting 10,000 followers as a thing, like that 10,000 people would know who I was like impossible. That was like something that like would never ever
Yeah.
happen to me, and I never thought that would ever happen. And what actually pushed that forward was I was making these crazy edits that were like they were based on like AMVs because I loved AMVs growing up, like anime music
Mm.
videos, and
Mhm.
they were like my mashup anime music videos where I take music I like and just make crazy collage, and people messed with those, and I was like, okay,
Super fun.
that's that's cool. I like making them. I'll make them. And then I had this goal for a while where I was like, I need to learn After Effects. Like, I just need to learn After Effects. I know I can do something cool with it. And I had this, Cyriac, the guy who makes those like crazy, like, you ever seen cows and cows? It's like a YouTube video of like all these cows and like morphing into like shapes and stuff and
Oh,
like
yeah.
spiders. Yeah, he is like my biggest inspiration in terms of animation. And
I
I
love that.
learned
How
that
weird.
he did it all in After Effects, and I was like, "If he can do this in After Effects, I can do something cool in After Effects. There's no way I can't." I finally sat down and taught myself how to use it, and I made my first animation, and it, like, instantly, like, got way more attention than anything else I'd ever made, and I was like, "This is crazy," and then I made my second one with the R form character that, like, everyone knows,
Yeah.
and blew up again. I was like, "These are definitely something more than I thought." Like, it hit, like, 1,000,000 views, like, pretty quickly.
I remember scrolling through and you do see the metrics all of a sudden jump, and I think one of those that video is one of the ones where I noticed was like, oh, that 1 million, that's a lot of people looking at your stuff. Does that awareness affect how you make your work at all, your relationship to it?
Yeah. At that time, it made me wanna focus on animation more. It was like this switch up where I was like, "Okay, I need to make more animations because I need to appeal to these people." And at the same time, the animations were kind of this output for me to get this, like, feeling that I was having. They were also kind of an escape because I was in this past relationship. We both were unhappy, and it was a great thing to be able to just hide in my room and work for 18 hours on an animation instead of dealing with problems that I should have been dealing with. And animations are
Mhm.
great because they are so technical. And I have definitely two sides to the art that I like to make even now, which is like creative, fast, like collages take me like 3, 4 hours. I can just get them out, get a feeling out, versus like now circuit bending or animation, where it's like that takes hours of tedious labor. And both of
Mhm.
them have an appeal to me. I like how both make me feel. And so the animations at the time took my like tedious labor slot. And so I would basically just work on those and then I get them out and they would blow up and I like every single time I'd have a jump of like 5 to 6,000 followers each one I would just post. It was really intense for me to be able to make art that I was like, damn, people really resonate with it. But very quickly I found that I hit a wall. Very quickly after I made I think about 6 of them, I
Like
was
a
just like,
wall of yourself
yeah, I mean
making.
I felt like a lot of them were the same. I mean, a lot of them consisted of a character that I rigged up that kind of did a little dance, and I was like, "This is cool," and the writing is fun, but I need to take this farther. I always want the next thing that I make to be better than the previous one in some way, and improve. And I felt like I was just reiterating on ideas that were cool and they worked in terms of content, but that wasn't working for me as an artist. And so, as I went on, I tried doing different things with them. I really wanted to try doing 3D, but I avoided Blender. I still avoid Blender. I don't know why,
You have time.
but I avoided it, and I just was using After Effects more, and I eventually got so overwhelmed with it that I stopped, and I like got to a point where I did. It was like last year. I made one that was partially 3D. I did some 3D animation in it with like collage, and at that point I was like, okay, it didn't really get any attention online. It wasn't really didn't feel like it fulfilled anything to me, and I was like, "Well, if it doesn't fulfill anything to me and no one cares about it, then why am I making these?" Because I
I think
neither one
that's
of
fair.
those
I
things,
think that's
yeah,
fair.
neither of these things mean anything to me. Then come April of this year, I did another animation that was pretty cool and I liked it a lot. And I once again I implemented something new. I did glitch art with it, but basically like animations have carried my page for a while. As of now, I reposted like all of the ones that I did, over the last like 2 years, and that
I
video
saw that one
has
too.
like blown up like crazy. It's still pinned to my page. It's a good like recap of them all, but now I kind of resent them. Weirdly enough, like I like my animations a lot, and like I'm proud of them, but they are not the style that I go for anymore. Stuff that I always find resonating with me is my collages through and through, my video work that like is meaningful, like the video art that I do, and so combining those is what means the most to me.
I imagine poetry and storytelling still pretty important regardless of what you're doing. It makes sense that you try to do all these different things with different technical means. A lot of it seems to revolve around systems trying and failing your stories, like failing to contain knowledge, perception, or divinity. You have a lot of when you're building your world, are you documenting it, channeling it, or do you discover it as you go?
You know, the whole Patho X thing I've been writing is a lot of it is kind of about, at least the core thesis of it, I find, is about like this attempt, as you said, like this attempt at divinity. And it's just like it's the whole world is like about these neo humans, which are like super advanced humans that are trying to attain godhood. And it the world itself kind of just comes to me. Like I just like feel like, oh, this is what it's supposed to be. Like it's written this way. It just kind of happens. Like the recent one that I wrote was just about, like I wrote it like right after finishing the animation. I finished the animation and just wrote based on the animation itself. I usually actually make the work and then write it. The writing accompanies it more as like a, this is how you're supposed to interpret it, versus the writing is what's causing the animation. The visual art is more priority than the story, but the story is always, because it always ties to this like search for divinity and search for stuff. The idea is that these characters that you're seeing, they're just like approximations of their form. You could never understand what I'm showing you. No one could ever understand. Like I'm just giving you like a, how the human mind can comprehend it. A lot of the story kind of ties the way that I perceive it, which is like I just get a flash of what I should write down, and this is just a flash of what you're seeing. And that's why all of them are in like excerpts, because they're never coherent, because I'm never given a coherent story. I never
Yeah,
think
or
of a
like
coherent story.
a log. You'll be like, this is a log or taken from a meeting or something. There's
Yeah.
also a recurring emphasis on witnessing, like seeing, like you just said, without fully understanding or being sometimes even like forced to observe. Does media making feel like an active transmission for you, or more like an active exposure?
I feel like it's both. I feel like for me, so, you know, a lot of the art that I do is based, especially the collage stuff, is based on like stuff that I've absorbed and witnessed myself. Everything that you see, you are kind of forcefully shown when you just scroll on your phone or you go somewhere, you are just blasted with a piece of information. You are both the witness, and then also like when you make, you are kind of being, you're blasting out that information. And so I
Hmm.
feel like the reason
Being
that all,
blasted and blasting. Got it.
yeah, exactly. And I feel like those, the reason that I keep that theme in there is because I like the idea of these characters being so powerful that just like being around them, you aren't just like seeing them, you are witnessing their existence in this like moment. They are coming to you and showing you what you can comprehend of it all, and you are just bearing witness to this thing. Just like every art piece you see, you just bear witness, but it's so literal because they're so intensely powerful or whatever. As me as the creator, it feels cool to just blast these creatures out there, and people have to bear witness to them. And that's why I think as the more recent ones have come out, a lot of the more recent ones have been very much like transmissions. Like they have been like something that, like a rogue signal that you're picking up on. The one that I made a few months ago was like all done on analog gear plus some digital stuff, and so I tried to lead into like this is a glitch transmission. And the one that I just
Hmm.
made, I literally recorded off of a CRT because I wanted that idea, like you're, imagine you're watching TV and you're just like have to be forced to witness this. You're just sitting there in your house, and as the story goes, a signal from beyond time has been sent back right to your house and is making you watch it right now. And I kind of like that like forceful nature of the experience that you have. You don't just get to choose to see these guys; they choose you. The first few were borderline like visions. This is the first sketchbook that I had for a while. This is the first drawing of the art form right here. And I just saw this. I was just sitting in my house and I was like, this is the vision of what's going to happen. Like beamed into my head, I'd hear the name, I'd see the vision, and I would be like, okay, I have to make this. And that stopped happening. And that's kind of why I stopped making as many. And now I make them whenever I kind of get that feeling. But it almost felt like they
Hmm.
made themselves. Like a lot of them, you'd see like in my sketchbook, I have these creatures that would just kind of show up. And they were never like something I designed. Like the first animation, this was the first sketch. And I just saw this full thing. And I was like, okay, I need to make this. And like throughout my sketchbook, there's tons of these like examples of when I first come up with these characters. There was one that I got really obsessed with for a while. Where is it? Uh,
It sounds
this
like
one,
you're a conduit.
a lot of people have told me that, and it scared me for a bit because I was like, this is freaky. But yeah, this was the first example of this character, and I like
It's cool
after
to
I
see
drew
the sketches and know what they become.
it, I just got obsessed with its design. I was like, okay, I need to make this. Then once I get the character out, then I start writing the story. So here's like storyboards of what it would look like. This one I never finished. This was God Empress Ramu Fail. I still have the stuff for this, just never finished it. The characters will show up first as like a vision, and then I'll start having to make them. And I think that's why you bear witness to them, is because I'm forced to bear witness to them. Here's the first example of the little ghost character too. Right next to it is a VJ setup. If you look, here's the video sync one. Wait, let me pull it up. I have the video sync setup in here somewhere. Yeah, here. This was the setup I was rocking at video sync.
Oh, that's awesome.
And because I have to make these to like just like iterating on the animations, these kind of come to me. I'm like, okay, how do I wire it up? And I plan it out in my head, and then since I go to venues and stuff, I have to have a way of doing it fast.
Your workflow does seem like intentionally hybrid too. It just seems kind of how like you think from software, hardware, performance, text. Your process right now seems gear heavy. Is this gear heaviness newer or has it been growing? And what then pushed you to start opening them up?
Okay, so this is actually okay. This is the second. I would call this phase two of my art. So there's the animations, and then there's phase two, which is the analog side. What happened is when I stopped making animations, when a lot of things changed in my life, I lost my feeling of color. And I felt
Mhm.
like I couldn't make. And so I started making stuff with gear and like live performance because it felt like it was easier to create stuff just live with my emotions. I picked up my first Tachyons glitch box, like a rainbow onyx, and I was really excited about it. And it blew my mind. I didn't understand it at all. I eventually picked up an Opti glitch from him because I wanted a little more like glitchy stuff. The rainbow onyx just makes like cool rainbow texture. So I wanted one for signal really and one for
Mhm.
cool textural stuff. I was just fascinated by it because it felt like I could simulate color. I could add color to my work. I could do glitch work and I could like implement this color live. But as I used them more and more and did more and more glitch art, I felt kind of dissatisfied that I wasn't making my own stuff. I felt limited because I
Mm.
was like, these are amazing machines, but I feel like I want to have more of a part in that. Like I want
Mhm.
to make my own things. And I knew about Drugs TM because I was like, I love game art. I love video game modding. I've been modding consoles for years. Like I do like just like stuff like hacking them. And I was like, well, this is the next level of that. And I've always loved like modifying things, like just opening things like Nerf guns and stuff when I was a kid and like building little things. And I think as I got more into glitch art, I was making these elaborate, as you saw in the sketchbook, these elaborate setups that were like basically machines in themselves with like three mixers and like two pieces of glitch gear and like making them swap around with like switchers and stuff. But I was like, I need to make my own. And I did mushrooms and I looked at all my gear and I was sitting and looking at all my gear and I was like, I'm dissatisfied. And went to video sync, had I actually right afterward I asked Kevin to teach me how to solder. Went to his house.
Oh,
He taught
that's
me how to
so
solder.
recent.
Yeah, no.
This was just what, August?
I had never soldered. I had never opened one of these. I was terrified because it was like you need to understand electrical engineering. You need to be like so into it to know how to do this. And I went to Kevin's house with this thing before it was modified. It's like a
Mm.
video tech box. I
How cute.
it was I installed, I opened it and I was like, this can definitely do some glitch art because it has like color control on it. And we opened it and I touched around in there, hoping not to fry it. Really honestly going on vibes. Surprised I didn't fry it.
So
Um,
you're just seeing where you can like short it out
Yeah.
safely. Like you're
Yeah,
just
I was just
exploring.
I was just first time ever, and I'm at his house doing it, and I find this one bend, and he's like, "Okay, I have a potentiometer, throw it on there." So he gave me this. So this is the knob that he gave me, and I painted on it, and we put it in there. And this was I brought this to video sync. This is the it just had a single knob on it. And then I saw Colston's talk, and he talked about how he had no idea what he was doing at first, and he was like, "I just started doing it," and I was like, "Okay." And I was surrounded by all these glitch artists. And at Video Sync, it was interesting because there was kind of two groups. There was like the synthesis fools who do like all of their like modular stuff, and then there was the
Hmm.
glitch artists, and that was like people who rewire stuff. And that was kind of the two camps that I saw there. There was like Drugs TM, Glitchworks, and like Liquid Light Lab doing all their like circuit bent stuff, and then you had like
Hmm.
the generative video synth people doing their modular synth stuff, and that was kind of the two camps of video artists there. I was just fascinated because I like hadn't seen a Drugs TM PS2 in person. I hadn't seen any other stuff in person anywhere. I'm isolated. I haven't seen any of this stuff in person. And I was like, I went over to the Airbnb afterward, and I was just talking, and I was like, I need to do this. Like I need to bend my own gear. I've
Oh,
been
and
wanting
at the
to for so long.
Airbnb, you were surrounded by like Zoe setup, Glitch Wolf, and like I
It
forget
was
the other
insane.
guy's name with the long hair. Like, and they were just people were just sitting there tweaking the whole time. Like you're just surrounded by people who are also very passionately and obsessed with this.
Yeah, it was just like so inspiring, and I was like, I need to do this. Like I need to bend. I need to learn how to do this. I can't not because like this is what I want to do so bad. And I was me, Johnny, and Ethan. Ethan made Zarbala tracks. You remember the giant puppet
Oh
animatronic,
yeah, Ethan's great.
and all of us were and Julia also was one of the people there, and all of us were like, we're all younger. We're like probably the youngest ones there, and we were like, we need to be a new generation of circuit benders because there's no one doing it. And I was like, we need to
Oh,
learn how to do this because no one our
that's such
age is
a
doing
sweet
this.
way to think about it.
And I made a group chat called Circuit Bending for Babies, which was us three in there, or us four. And out of all of them, it really was me and Ethan who kind of went the craziest on it. And we text every day now, and we became really good friends through video sync. And like
Oh,
me and him just push each other to bend more and more. And it's really nice to be able to share and talk to people about it. And I got home,
yeah,
I opened this again, I tested it. I was like, okay, I know what I'm doing. I know how to do this. And I just started watching video after video after video about like first I didn't know any resources. I didn't know what I was doing. I was just like, okay, I'll try. I texted Logan. I was like, hey, any advice? He's like, don't electrocute yourself. I got a multimeter, and slowly I just started touching and learning. Then I had a drawing pad, the one that I brought to video sync, and I texted Logan again. I'm like, I know you bend these. Do you have any advice? And he first got mad at me, and then he apologized and went, actually, I'll show you some of my bends. And he showed me some of his bends, and I kind of looked at it and it made sense to me. And I just got more and more obsessed. I just started researching. I found how to bend an NES. I pretty much just repeatedly every single thing I did, I'd research, I'd find forum pages, and I was like, I need to learn this as fast as possible. And this is from August till now. That is like
yeah,
the entire time of my bending. And so I have every single thing I could try to find. The goal initially was a PS1. I saw the PS2s and I was like, I need to do a PS1. I know it's possible. I went through every resource I could. I did, and I had to train myself because I knew that I wasn't good enough at soldering to even try to do the small stuff
the
on the
little
PS1.
ones. Yeah, some
And
of
so
them gotta beat them up too.
I was actually looking at the text with the Glitch Artist Collective Instagram page, and like one of the ones I had was like, just starting this camera, by the way. Can't wait. It's really, really hard to work on. And it was like August. And I
Oh,
actually
so the
started
glitch cams are recent too.
the glitch cams I started because I needed a way to train for small bends. That's why I started them.
Oh,
I was like, I want to have a testing bed to train hard bends on so I can get good at the small soldering before I start working on stuff that I can't afford to fry. So I worked up to it, fried three PS1s. After research and research and research now I've kind of taught myself a little bit of electrical engineering and how to read boards. And now I'm at the point where I'm just doing it all myself. Like it took me a few months, but I wanted to get good at this because it's so fulfilling. Like it's to have a piece of gear like this color corrector. This took
hmm.
me I bought 3 of them in preparation because I found them cheap everywhere. And I no one had bent them. One person, Sam Fei, I saw that he bent one after I bought one, and I was like, this is awesome. I reached out to him. I was like, any advice? He goes, well, it's tough. I was like, Sure is. Uh, and I, as a reward for winter break starting, which just started, I said I would bend it. So I opened it up and I started touching around and I texted him again. I was like, okay, for real, any advice? And he goes, try the resistors. And I was like, okay, I will. Yeah, he was right. And it like, it's so fun to learn this and like figure it out because it's been this puzzle, like starting from this basic video enhancers all the way to like full color correctors, all the way to PS1s, to advanced cameras, to now I'm working with Ethan on a production line of PS1s and I'm
Oh,
talking
cool.
to Colston at Drugs TM with about doing some production stuff with them. And like I've done like multiple different Genesis iterations and I'm looking at them on the wall. It feels like something that I have a knack for that I really, really enjoy. I've always liked modifying, and now I'm able to create my own machines. And when I use them for art, it feels like this whole cycle complete. I found this piece of junk, I made it cool, and now I get to make art with it, and now I get to add meaning to that. And so the whole process, the whole circle of life goes
Yeah.
back together. And that's why I got into it. And I remember, sitting there a few months ago being like, wow, I'm unfulfilled. And now earlier,
You're
I think
like,
I recorded a room tour and I looked at my room and I was like, wow, I love my setup. I have so many things that I've built. This is awesome.
what was the first time you encountered glitch art? Do you remember that?
I've collected VHSs and had a camcorder for a while. My dad, back when he was my age, used to do feedback visuals. He had a VHS cam and he would point it at his CRT and do feedback. He bought me a VHS cam in high school and he's like, "You'd love to point it at your TV, trust me." And that was like glitch art to me at the time. I love the way that analog stuff looked. I never knew about analog glitch art until probably the last 2 or 3 years. When I got into the video editing, I feel like that's when I kind of became more aware of the broader world about it because I was like, okay, I'm doing something that is weird. What genre is this that I'm tapping into? And I found pretty quickly a bunch of other glitch artists that did like video based Premiere Pro glitch art. And I,
Mhm.
I, I use this in like quotes because it's like not really glitching in any way, but it is like looks glitchy because you're just doing
Yeah,
so much
yeah,
like
glitch aesthetic.
yeah, glitch aesthetic. And but yeah, I became aware probably around 3 or 4 years ago of like the broader glitching community. I knew that people were out there, but I had no idea. I knew what circuit bending was in terms of audio. Like I knew about pedals and stuff. And I knew about like toys that people would rewire. Like I did this one. My little well, actually, I guess who really taught me and taught me anything was a few years back. Who really showed me is my friend Evan, who got me into a lot of cool stuff. Evan was kind of ahead of the curve. They built a dirty mixer themselves, like probably in 2019. And they were like, check this out. And I remember them sent me a message. They sent me a message on Discord, and it was like this anime girl, and the Ricardo dancing meme where he's like busting it down.
Mm-mm, but I'll look it up.
This like muscular guy dancing, and uh, they showed me a video of them just twisting a knob, and they got mixed together all rainbow, and I was like, but I never knew what it was. And then like years later, when I showed them, when I like got more into glitch art in a more real sense, they were like, "I've been doing this forever. I was trying to tell you about it." And so they built me actually my first dirty mixer, and the only one that I have is built out of a Pokemon tin that I got when I was 10. And it's a little dirty mixer that you can open and look inside. And that was the first time I was exposed to soldering in real life was then. And that was like a year
Aw.
ago.
Sounds like you get to meet a lot of cool people and make a lot of cool friends, which is awesome.
Yeah, no, and that's the thing is like as I said, learning the only reason I know all of this is because I ask questions. Like I'm always asking questions to Colston, I'm always asking questions to Logan, I'm always asking questions to like every single artist I can find because it's like, how can I learn this stuff? And people are pretty cagey, I feel like, about their
Yeah.
knowledge. And
They
reasonably
can they can be, but it's also I think when you're consistent, we talked about it earlier too, like that feeling of genuine interest. That you don't always pick that up right away from strangers, but when like they keep trying to talk to you and they're still doing it on their own, I think that
yeah.
usually can wear them down a little bit.
Well, I think I kind of earned it because it's like I
Yeah.
get messages all the time now. People are like, "How do I do this?" And I'm like, I mean, I don't know where to tell you to start. But then like I've had a few people be like, "I'm interested in this XY thing. I've done this XY thing. How do you do this Z thing?" And I'll be like, "Oh, okay. you're basing it on this, and like when someone has a genuine interest, exactly, it's really easy to want to interact with them and actually
Well,
give
and
them
a
information.
like a specific thing. Like it's
Yeah.
so hard when they're just like, "I want. Can you tell me about this super
How do you
vague,
glitch?
boundless idea or something?" And you're like, where do I start?
That's kind of why I want to be like an educator and why I want to go back into academia is like there's no formal way to learn all this stuff. I'm lucky that I have the resources, both having an Instagram page that has followers means I can kind of leverage that to talk to people who maybe wouldn't talk to me otherwise. Also,
Mhm,
having a public profile of myself as an artist means that I can reach out and find things easier. Also, just I'm pretty net savvy, so it's easy for me to like search through forums, and not everyone is. I want to be a resource people can come to and actually like ask questions to. I'm trying to learn this stuff to preserve it. Most people in the video art scene, especially analog, are older, like considerably older than me.
mhm.
And it is an art form that maybe isn't dying, but it isn't like going to be around forever unless people keep doing it. And
Yeah, it's niche. Again, that bubble that we talk like weird
yeah,
videos thinking it makes it seem like everybody's doing it, but we all know most of the people doing it.
yeah,
And
it's a
that like
tiny thing. It is like I see the same like usernames across Discords and Reddit and Instagram. I could honestly bet that like in the entire like ecosystem of video glitch artists that are doing analog art, there maybe are 2,000. Like genuinely like that are actually
consistent.
posting their work around and like talking about it. Because just like there aren't a lot of people who really understand. There's people who are like interested, people who are actively producing works of art and making stuff. It could be
Mhm.
even less than that.
It's exciting when new people come around.
It is super exciting, and like there's younger and younger people who are more and more interested in analog tech, and I want to be able to talk to them about it and work on it and learn. And so the only way I can teach it is to understand it myself. So
I
I
think
have to
that's a
keep learning.
great way to go about that. Is there anything coming up artistically or personally that you're excited about or
A few things I'm excited about. One, I'm working on a 3D printed model for the cameras.
Oh,
So
okay.
they're gonna have a 3D printed shell, so that'll be cool. I'm working on a production version of my 25 knob PS1. That this is
Is
the
that
like
enough knobs? Do you think that's enough knobs?
yes, because it's a patch bay. So they're each one
Okay.
they connect to each other. So like if you turn like the 25 and 3 on, then you get a different glitch than like 24 and 4. Like it's actually really cool because now having that like patch bay, I kind of know what each switch does in terms of the way it interacts with the game engine. Like I know that like the top cluster of 4 in the patch bay that I made all affect like colors in certain ways. So every game they work the same way. And I know which ones are
Hmm.
more unstable based on certain games. And I've also been able to document that like certain developers use a different engine and those engines react to different glitches in the same way. So it's very fun to have like a patch bay like that. But basically, go back to it. I'm working on that. Me and Ethan are working on a production model of those because we're gonna try to start selling them because I got some interest. Also, super excited because I'm going out to the Drugs TM studio come summer and I'm gonna be learning under Colston out there. He told me that he's like, come out. You can live in the studio for a little bit and work there for a little bit, and we'll teach you how to make stuff and we can build your PS2 with you. And I was like, yes, 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 yes. I want to learn how to build a PS2 so bad, just for myself, and also
It's
knowing
more
me,
complicated for sure.
but
They
also
added
like
a lot more things in there.
for me, I couldn't. If I bought one, I would not be satisfied. If I just bought one, I'd be like, oh, that's super cool, but it's gonna be satisfying because I built one for me. It's gonna be like I built this.
Yeah.
This is amazing. That I'm really excited for. I'm graduating this year.
Oh,
Also
yeah, you said
exciting.
that. I meant to say congratulations when we kept
And
talking.
I'm gonna be doing my thesis work and doing some expo stuff with that, and then also I've got before the year's over, I've got a big rave that I'm working at. Actually, I got two big shows planned. I got December 27th with some really cool artists and my friends, and then March 21st, I think I'm playing Spring Breakcore, which happens every year in Portland, and I play there every year. And I'm doing visuals at that. And I always go all out at Spring Breakcore because my birthday is March 23rd, so it's always like my birthday celebration as well for me. I've been going to those shows for years, and I've been playing them for the last two, so it's super exciting.
I don't know if this will be out before December 27th, but definitely will be out in time for March. Everybody should go there. Thank you for taking the time to talk with me. And for anyone encountering your work for the first time, where do you think they should start?
My Instagram, great place to look at Gork online on Instagram, great place, but also gorkworks.com, GORKWORX.com is my website, and I have everything there. And that is where I would say you should look at. I have my animations, I have my glitch art, I've got my collages. So any of the weird things we've talked about, they're all nicely organized instead of having to scroll through a timeline of my entire mental health like area and existence on Instagram.
Oh gosh, it is an archive, isn't it?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.